Now, the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, is covering up for someone, and that's the reason he does not want to resign. This is according to statesman and founding member of the governing MPP, Dr. Nyaho Nyaho-Tamakloe. The finance minister has come under intense pressure to resign, but he will not go until he's done with negotiating the IMF deal for the country. At least that's according to President Akufo-Addo, after over 90 majority MPs petitioned the president for his removal. The minority have subsequently filed an essential motion against him to start processes towards his removal. Public hearing into the vote of censure led by an ad hoc committee began on Tuesday. Adding his voice to developments so far, Dr. Nyaho Tamakloe believes the only reason the finance minister is refusing to bow out is because he's covering up for someone. He spoke to my colleague Benjamin Akapo.
Let's focus a bit more on the economy. President Akufo-Addo enumerated a 12-point plan in his economic address. We've mentioned one of them, import substitution. In recent times, on the back of developments in the economy, currently, if you look at October inflation, it stands at 40.4%. The CD is still trading to the dollar at around 15 CDs, 14.50. Depending on where you go, people even quote prices as high as what, 17 CDs, depending on where you choose to go. But that's not the official Bank of Ghana rate. Then you look at the IMF situation. When you contemplate all of this, and the fact that recently, I actually heard you talk about the 80 members of parliament on the majority side who had tried to get out the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, a novelty in the Fourth Republic and, you know, across the history of our country. You said they had earned your respect, but going back after having listened to Mr. President and saying, okay, they will agree for him to read out the budget statement, go through the appropriations and all of that, do you feel they have failed?
I don't think they have failed. And I think quite recently, before Parliament opened, or the first day of Parliament, they came out with another statement that they still stand by what they said. And to me, that means a lot. You see?
But they didn't get what they wanted at the time. They pandered to Mr. President, who said, wait for this period. And tellingly, we don't know when exactly he's going to be relieved of his post, if he ever will be.
No, the point is that the 80 young men from my party who came out and spoke their mind clearly, some of them even said, we are not building a dictatorship, which I like a lot. We are not building a dictatorship, which follows they have seen where the party is being taken to. Now, what really interested me in their latest statement was that they still stood by what they said. If Parliament, if the government is going to push, what do you call it, the budget through Parliament, they will not be part of it. They made it clear. And this is a very, very important statement. You hardly hear about such things. You hardly. Apart from few people who have resigned on principle as ministers, and that long ago in this country. So honestly, I respect those young men, I must tell you. And I believe, as I warned them last time, their first statement, that they should not allow themselves to be talked out of what they wanted to do by the president.
Sticking with the economy, you recall this year, Mr. President said, we do not know how to bring the dead back to life, but we know how to bring the economy back to life, to resuscitate it. We had said we wouldn't go the way of the IMF. We are now, you know, firmly headed to the IMF. Does that give you, especially looking at Ken Ofori-Atta, does that give you any confidence in this administration in terms of managing the economic aspect of our national life?
The statement that was made by Ofori-Atta, that we are not going back to the IMF.
We are a proud people.
We are a proud people. And it's been seen clearly that we have gone back to the IMF. If I were Ofori-Atta, I would have resigned immediately. Now you ask yourself, why is it still there?
Why do you think?
What do I think?
Why do you think he's still there?
Look, when a person is in position, I made mention of dictatorship. When a person is in position and the populace say, we've had enough with you, go away, and still he wants to be there, the simple thing that will come to the mind of any ordinary person, that he's sitting on the rod. When he's not there, then we see how massive that rod is.
You're suggesting Kenneth Oriatta is covering up
Absolutely.
for some people. For whom?
You're asking me that? Who is the appointing authority in this country?
Mr. President?
Yeah, and has the president approved of his removal?
Nyaho Nyaho-Tamakloe there in an interview with my colleague Benjamin Akapo. Now, let's